Hi, I'm Barry. This is Mega City Gaming, and this is a vlog and paint. Yeah, vlog and paint. I'm going to paint my dropship. Enjoy! Right, so I've stuck. I say stuck, I use some putty from Tamiya. And basically I put a small blob of putty about the size of Imperial Army model's head, squished it on there, put the magnet in, and then gathered up the sides with a toothpick. Yeah, these magnets are both the same way round. And let me just check that they are, just in case. Got a little stack of magnets here. Right, that's attracting, that isn't attracting. Oy, okay, so they're the opposite way round. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Right. And I also did the same on here, and I've placed them so you can see where I clipped off the clips. I snipped off, I cut off the clips 1, 2, 3, 4. So I put one in between those, and then it's easy to eyeball because that's where the clips also go on this one. So you can get the location fairly accurate. Right, so I'm gonna finish off that one. I have the glue, the plastic glue, also a gun. This comes with a choice of 3 different guns. There's some kind of alien ray gun type thing. There's a rocket launcher type thing, and then there's this like Gatling minigun, I don't know, whatever. And they all go at the front. Let me make sure you can see that. So this one fits quite well, the Gatling cannon thing. It fits, and it's a lot of surface area contact points. That fits quite well. I did think, oh, I'm going to magnetize it. Nope. I mean, why? What's the point? Pop that off and pop that on. Why would I even do that? Just say it's armed with a plasma cannon, it's armed with a laser gun, it's armed with a ray gun. Anyone who says, man, it's got the wrong gun in it, is a cock. So don't play with those people. Yeah. Bona fide cock. It's got the wrong kind of made up weaponry on it. Anyway, so I'm going to glue that on while it's up on bricks. Now this thing constantly gets stuck. The fucking thing. There we go. Hopefully it's not blocked, but I've got a lighter handy, not mine, but I do have a lighter handy. Right, I'm going to glue this. Right, it doesn't, is it blocked? Nope, not blocked. Right, so I'm going to smother it with glue. Get it'll glue all up all over it. Right, plastic glue is good because it forms a very strong bond, chemical bond. Hey, but you do have to hold it a little bit. Again, I've got to make sure that is, although it doesn't matter if it's dead on because it's obviously supposed to swivel, but if it's stuck in a swivel position, that is also not very good. Right, and it looks like this has warped a little bit. Get it right. Nice. Yeah, Mantic stuff is quite cheap. This was quite cheap. I did actually, I bought it in, I didn't actually buy it, to be honest. I didn't buy it. I paid for it. I actually ordered some dice for a zombie game that was no longer being made. A zombie game by Hornet Games. They don't make that zombie game anymore. And I ordered the dice for it in 2019 because the dice were the same as the Judge Dredd dice, but they were a different colour. So I thought, well, okay, let's use those. Let's order some of those because they're cheap, because that game's no longer produced. So I ordered a bunch of those, and that was in 2019, and then the world ended, of course, as you might remember. World ended, and then it got to the middle of 2020, and I was patient, you know, world ending and all that, but it got like, it was like 6 months. No, it was like more like 12 months actually. I waited a year basically. And in the middle of 2020, I was like, hi guys, I know world's ended, completely understand, but is there any news on the dice? Any news on the dice front, guys and gals? Because I haven't heard anything. And, you know, that's not very good, is it really? Considering it's been a year, man, without any news on an order that I paid for. Anyway, so they said, well, you could wait indefinitely for the dice, but no guarantee that it's going to come. Or I could just order something else. So I ordered this, and then promptly forgot about it. And then it came this year. So this took about a year as well to come. So I forgot all about it. So there you go. It's dry. It's dry. Yeah, it seems to have stuck quite well. This is rock hard now. The magnets are embedded in these donuts. Slightly better on this one than on this one. If they do pop out, it will have a nice socket. I can just glue them back in. Yeah, if need be, I can add more putty. Yeah, and that ain't going nowhere. So 2 magnets is enough for that. The gun underneath, that's stuck on well, that's not going anywhere either. I chose this one because it's got a low profile. The rocket launcher does look better, but it sticks out another like 5 mil. So this would be like kind of up on rocks or something, up on bricks, also it would seem. Anyway, so when I'm going to spray it black now, and I'm going to spray it in 2 separate parts so we can get all the underneath and all that bit. Spray it. See you in a bit. Yeah, it's all been sprayed up with Mr. Hobby black primer. Can's nearly empty. It's a really fucking tiny can, but whatever. I had enough to do this. Yeah, it's all good. It's got quite a nice finish anyway, kind of matte, but not too matte. Anyway, I'm digressing. So, on the Facebooks, Stargrave page, I asked people what colour I should paint this, because I don't know, and yeah, someone said do it in hazard stripes, which, yeah, I guess it would make it look like a wasp or something, but no, not going to do that. There will be hazard stripes on it, at least on these parts, because they already have the stripes there, so I can just paint them on easy, and it makes sense, you know, kind of. So no to hazard stripes generally. Another one said, a few people said do it camouflage, and I've painted enough camouflage, and I think, well, camouflage is all well and good if you're going to the place that is the same colour as the camouflage on your dropship, but the dropship's going to be plopping down all over the galaxy, universe, cosmos, solar system, whatever. So having camouflage, yeah, plus having it camouflage means it is military, so I want to use it in different games. Then I thought, well, I could do it black and red, but I've painted a few armies that colour, and nope. So the colour on the box anyway is basically this colour with a couple of white stripes on it, so I'm going to do that. I'm also going to do, someone suggested Spitfire colours. Spitfire was like camouflage with light blue underneath, because camouflage from above. I'm not going to do light blue underneath, because it's kind of hard to know where to begin and where to end, and yeah, I suppose I could, but no, I'm not going to do it. Keep it simple. But a Spitfire did have stripes, black and white stripes on the tail, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to paint it green, black and white stripes on the tail, a white stripe probably here and on the wing, like on the box art. The insides of aircraft are usually a light colour, you know, grey or blue or green, but light. So I'm going to paint it like, what's this, medium sea grey inside, and I'm going to paint the details on there as well. Yeah. So let's start with medium sea grey. Anyway, I'm digressing furiously. Medium sea grey. So I'm going to use this quite big brush, but not that big actually. For the outside, I will be using this. These some paints take a lot of shaking, so I'll be shaking this for a few minutes. Shake it up, yeah, and it's still not mixed 100%. So all the, yeah, okay. You get a bunch of the medium coming out first, and then the paint. So, annoyingly enough, right, I'll start with the roof, in the inside, the interior roof. Should probably use a bigger brush than this actually. Yeah, this brush. Screw it, I'm going to stick with this brush, whatever. And it's medium sea grey, goes on quite well. Probably won't need 2 coats for that. Yeah, it's a nice finish, I suppose the word would be. Yeah, I'm trying to get all up in there. Also, painting at an angle, it's not so easy. Some people say, oh, paint it and then assemble it. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. Not for me. Paint it and then assemble it, no. Because knowing exactly what parts are going to be glued and what parts are not going to be glued, and getting traces of glue on your paint job, and all kinds of stuff is a big fat no. Just glue it together, yeah? Put it together, prime it, paint it, boom. Unless you are a golden axe winning whatever, then yeah, you go ahead. You can go ahead and do your thing. Yeah, it's taken quite a long time. Apologies for that. Maybe I should have used a bigger brush. Maybe. Right, and then turn it around and get the interior of the top of the wall, which I couldn't reach from that side. Yeah, I think this was the correct colour for the interior. Yeah. Then I'm doing the bulkhead, or whatever it's called, the insidey bit, interior wall. Actually, it's just like a shipping container, basically, isn't it? I will probably. I'm going to paint these. They look like windows, but they're not windows because the outside doesn't have the same detail. They could be painted up as screens. Monitors or whatever, which I might do. So I'm kind of, if missing bits, almost like an overbrush, but painting, but not jabbing the brush into all the crevices, because those crevices remain black, and that shows up the detail. Similar to an overbrush. Don't know if you can see that. So let's have a look. Can you see it? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like that. You can see it kind of black lines the detailing a little bit. Right, I'm gonna do the rest of the inside. You don't have to watch me do that. Next. Right, I've done the insides. Put this to the side. Keep it there just in case we need to touch up some bits. Hot tip is eyeball it before you start painting and decide where the edge of the particular colour is going to be, and then paint the edge of the panel first and then do the insides, because it just makes it easier. If you want kind of a clean line, or decide where it's going to go up to, like here on the edges there's a flange, I don't know what it's called, sticky outy bit. So I painted that sticky outy bit, and the rest of it, the past that line it's going to be green. So yeah, just decide, paint that, and then do the inside. For the floor, I painted against the grain, so the grain is this way, I painted this way, and it kind of left the black lines denoting the floor panels. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter because I could just do that with ink, Nuln oil or something like that, so which I probably will do with the doors when I do the hazard stripes on the doors. And the steps I'm also going to ink, and I'm going to metallicize those a bit with some silver. I'm back. Yes, the paint's dried, although it's pretty much drying away. Yeah, so as you can see, the edges are quite clean. This is quite high pigment paint, so I can paint over the grey bits that I overpainted very easily. One coat seems to be enough, as I am going to weather it up and stuff. I'm quite happy with that colour. It's ultra matte as well. It's not like if I had used the Cayman green, it would have been a lot more of a satin finish. This is a lot more matte, possibly because it's World War II kind of colour, possibly just because that's what it is, because of the kind of paint it is. And yeah, I'm gonna have a drink. This is what is it? Premium malt ale brewed in Tokyo. Strangely enough, the same price as import beer. I don't know why it's so expensive. Whatever. It's not that great. Yeah, ultra engineered cooling, whatever, not cooling, but insulated the canister. Right, anyway, cheers. Boom. Yo, yo, yo. Awesome, right. So I'm going to start. Let's see what it looks like anyway. See what it looks like when it's been put together. Yeah, it still sticks, even though it's got a couple of layers of paint between the magnets. Yeah, that looks alright, doesn't it? For a start. Boop. And I decided I probably will paint this door grey, like the inside of the thing. I've got the grey there, and the little window will be window coloured. Yeah, whatever this colour I decide to do the windows. I was thinking maybe do the windows metallic and then go over it with a contrast paint. That might work. It will work, but yeah, whatever. These are still, yeah, I didn't quite paint 100% in here, although it does look like it's just worn away rather than I've missed a bit. So yeah, anyway, whatever. So what was I doing? Oh, hazard stripes, that was it. I'm gonna do hazard stripes, start with the yellow. I've got Avalon Sunset, which is a base, a Citadel base colour, which means it's got more pigment in it than something like this, which is a layer. This is much brighter, but aside from the fact it's got dry paint all on the inside of the lid, I don't want to spend 10 minutes hooking all that out. Boring. I'm just going to use that. It's a less bright. I could do this and then sponge on some of that. If I sponge it on, it will look like it's just worn away, rather than if I paint it on, you've got brush strokes in it and all sorts. Yeah, that's how that works. Right, let's start. I got Wargamer Monster Army Painter brush, relatively big brush. Oh, yeah, it's not very good beer, but it is one of the better beers available. in my neighbourhood. Right, the Japanese have kind of caught on to the fact that people are buying craft beers, and now they're putting the word craft on literally everything. Craft coffee, craft tea, craft fucking spaghetti. Fucking nonsense. Anyway, whatever. Moni, old Moni. Right, I'm gonna start. Yeah. Hey. See that? It's good that I painted it grey underneath as well, because although it is high pigment, painting over black would need a few coats. So I just went on with the grey. So yeah, that looks cool. Again, it's going to get weathered up, so it doesn't have to be perfect at all. I can still see some brush strokes in there, but when it's weathered up, it's going to look cool. Yeah. Right, so I'm going to do these, and same on that side, and then get back to you. Right, pinstripes finished, hazard stripes are finished, whatever. Although, you can see some brush strokes in there, and I said it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter, but because of the way I am, I'm just going to add I'd say another layer, but yeah, not kind of a haphazard, another layer, rough, that's it. Don't need to go to the edges on this one, just very roughly go over the middle part of the stripe with, it'll take a minute maybe. Just take a minute. And the good thing about these stripes being part of the model, as in these are molded, means the lines are quite straight and not my usual attempt with masking tape and such, which always end up looking good in the end, mostly because I draw the eye away from the messed up not straightness of the lines, and by weathering it all up a lot, so the mistakes aren't obvious unless you look really closely. Anyway, whatever. Sorry, I'm nearly done. There we go. That's better. Right. Now what? I'll tell you what. Now what? Kieran. That's what. Now what? Kieran. Which means giraffe. I'm sorry if that burst your eardrums. Sorry, not sorry. Wow. That literally tastes like piss after drinking that other beer. But anyway, it'll be right after a few sips. Why do I do it? Right, the hazard stripes. Of course, we've got to do the black stripes now. So, yeah, I think is this empty? This might be empty. It might be empty. In which case, right, yeah. In which case, I do have about 3 or 4 spare Citadel. This is a Abaddon black. It's a base color, so it's heavy pigment. Anyway, let's check if it's empty. If it is empty, I'll refill it with that, and you can watch me do that. How fun! Oh no, it's not empty. Okay, nearly empty. Very nearly empty. Right. So let's do this. So because of the molded stripes, it makes it a lot easier. But also, this is the part you've got to be careful of, because if you go on the yellow with the black, it's a lot more difficult to. Yeah, I've already fucked up. Fucking hell. I guess that my brush was still wet, so it's gone all over the place. Well, no, it hasn't gone all over the place. It's gone into the recess slightly. Not too bad. Right, let's carry on. Oh, got a cat coming. Hello, want to sit on my lap? This one in particular likes my brush. She likes to bite it when I'm painting. So anyway, because it's molded, if I paint this way, it's easier not to get paint where you shouldn't. That makes any sense? Go against the grain, that's what I mean. Like same when I did the overbrushing inside. If you don't want to get paint in the recess too much, I suppose a little bit is all right. Yeah, a little bit's all right. I did get paint in the recess there. Whatever. I am gonna, what's it called? Quick shade it, not quick shade. What's that stuff called anyway? It's called shade, that's it. It's called shade. It's kind of like a ink, I suppose. Right, so side to side. Yeah, this paint's really runny. I did stick a bunch of water in there. I guess I thought it was drying out or something like that. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. Actually, wait, I'm gonna finish this stripe and then I'll do the rest and I'll get back to you. Right, as the stripe's all done. Maybe you can see that. So between each hazard stripe, there's a little recess, and some of them I've painted, some of them I haven't. I am going to go in with non-oil shade and just so that won't be so obvious. But not right now. Right now we're going to paint, or I'm going to paint, the inside details. You can see here, there's like a cable going from this round thing to this round thing on both sides of the door. We're going to paint that. We're going to paint it red. Paint it bloody red. No. I say your grain door and I blah blah paint it red. Yeah. That's how that song goes. What's this? That's Mephiston red. It's another base colour. It's another base colour. Yeah. Again, it's got freaking dry paint all around the inside of the lid, which is annoying because it flakes off and drops in the paint and you get lumpy paint. Right. Yeah, of course it's not so easy to get your brush all up in there. But as long as it's approximately done. That's right, I got a bit of paint on the round things at each end, but I'm going to paint them next with copper. Oi, copper. I guess I'll turn it around. Alright, now I can see it from this angle. I'm going to add a little bit more paint to the original, the first cable that I painted. And if you screw up, or if I screw up, I've got the paint right there, I can fix it. Yeah. I can fix it. Don't worry, I can fix it. There we are. And there's a little bit. I've got a little bit on the door frame. Right, let's fix it right now. It's worth doing it as and when, in my experience, because otherwise I'll forget about it and I'll end up noticing it after I've finished painting it, and it'll be too late to fix it, because once you've started weathering and stuff, you can't go in and fix it. Not easily anyway. It'll be so obvious. Right. And it's such a small mistake that I'm pretty sure no one would even see it. No one would even see it. Yeah, right. So let's get a close up. Let's get a close up. Let's get a close up. Right, I'm seeing through your eyes now. The light's not very good. Apologise for that. There you are. Either side of the door, cable. Yeah, the light's also not doing us any favours, but anyway. Right, so at each end of that cable, there is a round thing, and even though this isn't GW, this is not GW. There are similar things in the Necromunda terrain that I have been painting copper colour. So I'm keeping the same kind of palette for the same kind of things throughout the stuff, because it's the same universe. I'm going to be using the Necromunda terrain. Well, it's the only terrain I have pretty much that is 3D. Got a lot of 2.5D, which means basically tiles and then it's furniture. Anyway, yeah, copper. Yeah, right. Let's check in the other door, or the other end, to see if there's anything that also needs painting with the same colours, but there isn't. I'm just going to do this side. got a shaky hand, and because I'm holding the brush at the far end, it's magnifying my shakes. Magnifying my shakes. Egads. Right, so I'm doing like the top surface of the round thing. Again, if I fuck up, I can just go in with the grey and fix it. So don't need to be too careful. And again, no one's going to notice it anyway. And I'm doing the side of the round thing because it's quite a thick round thing. And I am going to go over later the interior with Nuln oil, which will clear up or certainly make the mistakes a lot less obvious. And no one's going to be looking in there anyway. It'll probably be obvious if I take photos. You know what I mean? You don't notice these things, and then you take a photo and you notice all the mistakes. What a mistake could I make? That's a perception thing, actually, because our mind is compensating a lot for things. It naturally changes what we see into what we perceive. That's how we can have quite a wide vision, that we're focusing here, but we can know what's on either side. And when we look at a miniature, I don't have one to hand, but you know, if we look at a miniature, we are seeing a tiny person. So the mistakes aren't so obvious when we're looking at it because we're compensating. We're saying, oh, it's a tiny person, it has eyes and a nose and a mouth. But when we take a picture of it, it's static and it's not being perceived in the same way, so we see all the mistakes. There's probably a more technical way of saying that, scientific. Right, now I'm going to go in on the steps because I assume they're going to be like worn down a bit. The paint's going to be scuffed off by hobnail boots and such. So I'm going to sponge on a bit of lead belcher. It might not show up so well because it's, you know, silver on grey. Won't be so obvious, but it'll be there. It'll be there, and you know, can't really go wrong really. Right. Yeah, getting it, because this is like the bottom of the pot. So I'm gonna get a bunch on my brush, put it on the palette. Bunch on the brush, put it on the palette. Yo, yo, yo. And then get it on the old sponge. Yeah. Yeah. And then yeah, it does actually show up a bit. Yeah, that is quite a good effect actually. It's not the colour, it doesn't really stand out, but because it's shiny, the shininess shows up. There we go, and it's just on the edges as you'd expect. You know, the lip of the step, if that is even a word, is yeah, that looks so much better. Oh yeah, ooh, wow, wow. Right, so yeah, that literally took seconds. Of course, I need to rinse that out. Rinse it out, and let it 100% dry before using it again. Yeah, still got a bit of metallic on there. That's fine. So, yeah, I'm using, every time we get like a takeaway or Uber Eats, obviously we get a bunch of like paper towels and stuff like that. And of course, because we're at home, we don't really need to use those. So I get them and I use them for wiping my brush or cleaning up. It's always good to have anyway, in case you spill something. Oh fuck! Luckily that, touch wood, luckily that hasn't really happened yet, but yeah, not really. Oh yeah, where was I? Yeah, I'm going to start on the main thing. I'm going to use the same metallic silver, lead belcher, that's it, so dark silver basically. I'm going to paint this, whatever it is, and these two, whatever they are, and also the barrels of the minigun. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do, using a lead belcher. And then I'm just do the window on the front with a lighter silver. Let's see what I got for that, but for the moment let's just do this. Sponging would probably be best for this, but I don't have a sponge small enough, and this one's still wet, so it's fine. I'm gonna just paint it anyway. Just paint it with a big old fat brush. Big fat old brush, yeah. Yeah. Hello. Come on, sit down. There we go. There we go. Yeah, this one, she likes the brush, so she'll probably, here we go. She'll probably be biting it any second now. Look at that, oi, 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 oi. Oh, you're not helping, mate. You're not really not helping at all. But cute. Oh yeah. Yes, you are. Hey. Yes, you are. Oi, oi. Fucking hell. What is going on in your mind? It's not a toy, I suppose, technically. Right, now I'm doing the barrels of the guns. Barrels of the guns. Yes. You look at it. Wow. Cutest cat in the world. Apart from yours, if you have a cat, because yeah, one's own cat is always the cutest. Or dogs, if you're a dog person. Oh, got a little bit on the the muzzle, nozzle, shizzle, drozzle. That's a Snoop Doggy Dogg song, probably. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure what colour to do the. I might do them gold. Gold. Don't know, man. Don't know. But gold. That's not very. It's a bit like 40k style, as in Dune, you know, because hashtag rip off. But I could do silver and then give them a bit of like I do often, the weathering powder, like blue weathering powder, so it's like burnt metal kind of stuff. Burnt metal, it's overheated or, you know, being used rather a little bit too much. You know. Yeah. Right, so let's do the rest of it. Let's just paint the whole thing. Paint the whole gun bit silver. Lead belcher even. And then we can go in with the pigment powders and give it a bit of character. Of course, that'll be the one of the last stages. I might even forget. You know, something as big as a vehicle, a tank, or a bit of terrain or something. You see these details and you think, yeah, I'll do that. But you can't do it until last, because otherwise it will just rub off or whatever. And then, yeah, that looks good, doesn't it? It's already looking good. It's already looking good. And under there looks good. Right. So yeah, front window. Front window. That's the technical term for it. Front window. Silver. Lighter silver. So metal. There we go. What's this? Iron breaker. So I don't think this has got an agitator in it. This one does. You can hear that because this has been transferred from one of these into here. So when I transfer it, I always put a bit of metal in there. Pewter or like white metal. You know when you get a metal miniature and there's a tab on the bottom and you cut it off and put it on a base. So that bit of metal I keep and use for agitating. But this one doesn't have an agitator, so that's why. Oh, it does! It does! It was just so clagged up that it was not even moving. Alright. Yeah, that makes sense. Right, anyway, another thing while I'm doing this is I did check on the internet about Spitfire colour schemes, and yes, it does have black and white stripes, some of them, but it wasn't just on the tail fin as I thought. It was literally like that, so quite a lot. So 3 white stripes separated with 2 black stripes here, here and here. I'm not going to do that, but I will do something similar. As you can see here, there's like a segmented bit, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to do like white, black, white here. Then if that doesn't look ridiculous, I will do another one on the tail fin, which is my original idea. and then maybe go in and do another one on here, which is what they have on the box art. They have like a single white stripe here, but I might do like 2 white, 1 black, 2 white, 1 black, 2 white, 1 black. So I'll do that one first, and we'll see, because this is molded, so in theory it should be easier. If I can't get that right, then I'm not going to get it right using masking tape, that's for sure. Right, anyway, yeah, I'm shaking the old paint, shaking the paint, shaking the paint, shaking the paint. Shaking the paint. And I'm going to use the ultra thin brush. It's called a starter brush, strangely enough, by Citadel. I rarely use it, especially if I'm painting stuff like that. I use it for painting eyes and stuff like that on the miniatures, figurines. But this window is quite small, and I don't want to get the silver on the edge, on the inside edge of the housing kind of thing. I want it strictly on the on the window, on the glass part. The glass part. So using a brush that has a point still is an idea. The other brushes I have that I use for almost everything don't have points anymore. So not so good for trying to do anything precise, but yeah, that's good enough. Let's do the other side. Certainly doesn't have to be perfect, but I just don't want to get it. I don't want to like overbrush. I don't want to get it on the sides. I'd rather have the window too small than too big. Rather not quite reach the edge than go over the edge. Because if I don't quite reach the edge, I can, when I go in with the contrast, that won't be obvious at all, because the contrast will coagulate at the edges. There you go. That actually looks cool, just like that. But I am going to put contrast on that. I am going to put the contrast on that. Woo! Right, all right then. Right, I was going to cogitate about what I'm going to do next while that dries. Probably I'm going to start doing the stripes. So white, white, and the black one in the middle, because that will make the black stripes. If I went black, white, black, it wouldn't be so obvious. the black stripes, because of this green, wouldn't pop so much. But if it's white, then black, then white. The black, like in the Spitfire, that's the idea they have in the Spitfire, is white, black, white. So that's what I'm going to do. I've just noticed, well, so just noticed, I might go in these bits and not with this one, with the old lead belcher. Let's do that now. Let's do it now. Do it now. Go in those bits with the lead belcher. And I am just doing an overbrush. So just the tips of the filters. Yeah, because, you know, they're the bits that get the wear and tear. Again, I'm going against the grain, and I'm being a little bit rough. I don't have to get, because it's showing wear. It's not like freshly out the shop. This is going to be a well-used machine. If you've ever worked on a construction site like what I have, all the machinery, all of it, looks like it was smashed with sledgehammers as soon as it got out of the factory. So yeah, that's the look I'm going for. Do that as well. There we go. Get a bit of variation on there. Because I assume these air vents open and close and stuff. I'm also going to do the propellers as well, although I want to do that with a sponge, so when that's dry I will sponge those with the same colour. Yeah. Right, here goes nothing. Got cat number 2 on my lap this time. He's not so interested in the brushes. He's like, how old are you? 19? So yeah, he's not so interested in the brushes. Probably about 10 years ago he would have been, but not anymore. Right, anyway, what am I doing? What's this? Ceramite white, rebottled, which has made it now a viable paint rather than like before, when it was in the original pot, the GW pot. It was pretty much unusable because it had all dried crap around the lid, and it wouldn't shake properly. It would separate, and yeah, it was pretty crap. But having repackaged it into that bottle, it's now a usable paint. So I'm doing the Spitfire stripes. Using a big old brush It has a flat tip. Right, I don't need to get it too accurate, because of course I will tidy it up with nuln oil. Because it has, it's a molded detail, so I don't, can you even see what I'm doing? I can't. Cat's on lap, I can't check the camera, so apologies for that. Not that this is technical in any way. Yeah, I've gone a little bit over on that one. Where? Yeah, cat number 3 is telling me she has just done a shit. I know, I'll sort that out in a minute, mate. Thanks for telling me. Yeah. So, yeah, basically, I might, yeah, push it up to the edge a bit more. There we go. Yeah, nothing to be proud of right now, but actually it's already looking quite cool. I've got a lot of paint on the palette, so I might quickly, before it dries, try and do the tail fins as well. I think I won't be doing the wings, the wing tips. I will just be doing the tail. Again, I'm not even sure if you can see this, but I am going to. I've got like a quite thin masking tape, but I'm going to cut because it's in limited supply. I don't really need that much, so I'm going to cut it in half. This is, I always do this. It's a habit of mine. There we go. So now it's half as thick. So I'm gonna just do. Right, so it's white, black, white. 3. All right. So in that case, yeah, I'm gonna do white, black, white, and keep the top white, black, white. Keep the top green. Right. Yeah, that's near enough. Near enough. So white and then black and then white. And I'm not gonna, this front panel I will leave green. I'll leave the top bit green. Right, yeah, I really didn't need to cut that in half, to be honest, but whatever. And I will go in with the Nuln oil again, of course, and pick out any details. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do the bottom stripe. So the black will obviously paint over whatever mistakes I made going up into the black stripe area. But I don't want to get too much onto the green bit. Yeah, so I did the black stripe off cam. I, capped on that and stuff, so I couldn't do the old reach around and get the camera switched on while I was doing that. But it was the same as the white stripe, but with black paint. Yeah, so what I'm doing now is this white stripe needs another coat. So I'm just going, this is the big old fat brush. Just going in with that. Give it another coat. Doesn't have to be as accurate. Because do the first coat accurate, second one you just go down the middle, and straight down the middle, go down the middle, and then it kind of looks like it's been feathered, layered, it's probably a word for it. It's probably a word for, oh, that's much better. Wow, wow, wow. But yeah, I did a tail as well, and then rip off the tape. If you leave that stuff on too long, it will take the paint off underneath. Dee 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 dee. Yeah, so I'm just like dabbing. Dabbing it. Yeah, oh, that's much better. Wow, wow. And of course, when I weather it up, any minor errors will, yeah, they won't be obvious at all. They'll be all covered up or really not so obvious. So let's take this off. You see that? Probably not. Let's do it this way. Boom. Right, how's that? That's quite a clean line, actually. It's a lot cleaner than the not iron breaker. What's this? Lead belcher. Me. So I'm going to do the fans first. Hashtag only fans. Which is apparently for people that like naked peoples. I guess, yeah, I can imagine, literally imagine, yeah. Literally, right. So yeah, sponging, bit of pluck foam. Use whatever sponge you can get. Bit of washing up sponge, whatever. It does soak up a lot of paint, so, and I'm gonna just let's do one side, and then this one. Good thing that they're movable, so I don't get too much on the rest of the machine. Although I am getting it all over my fingers. Yeah, cool. See that? Yep. That's called impatient, so I should let that dry and then do the other side, but no. I had to just continue, didn't I? Yeah. And then, without getting any more on there, I'm just going to do some, the front edge of the wing. And of the tails. Get a little bit more in there. There you go. And the front, of course. Don't forget the front. And the bottom of the front. The bottom of the wings. Anywhere that is going to be smashed with bits of micro debris floating in space. Of course, that would literally go straight through. If we're talking about physics, let's go straight through whatever. Whatever kind of spacecraft you have, but yeah, it's a dropship. It's not really flying in space, so it's mainly flying from space to the planet. So most of the journey will be in atmosphere, and yeah. So I think. Yeah, that pretty much, yeah, just one lot of paint. Pretty much did the whole thing, because I just want to get the leading edge of the aircraft. So the front of the wings, the front of these, the wingtips, and the front of the aircraft. There we go. Boom, done. As I was going to say something. So I did the propellers with sponging a bit of silver, lead belcher, dark silver, and did some other random silver bits, which I'm not sure about now. But anyway, the propellers, yes, I'm going to do the edges of the propellers with the same silver, yeah, because that is flat green. And speaking of flat green, that will lead, that's a nice segue into the next bit, although segues should be at the moment of change, not about 5 minutes beforehand. What am I doing? Right, okay, there's the lead belcher. Let's get some lead belcher on the palette. This is old paint. I poured nearly all of that into a dropper bottle, and this is just the last bits I'm using up. It's quite thick as well. It's the stuff at the bottom. Right. Oh, lead belcher. Okay, so sponge. I've still got my bit of sponge. It's all dry now. You can see the silver hasn't washed off that, but that is fine because it's all dry, crusty. Try not to get so many cat hairs on the sponge because that will affect the distribution of sponging. Right, just doing the edge. And the other side. So you imagine this is moving parts. It's getting hit with wind, rain, hailstorm, brimstone, flying frogs, all that kind of stuff. It's going to wear away the paint, isn't it? So the metal underneath, it's not going to rust because the rust is just going to, yeah, it's not going to, the water is not going to collect there and get rusty. Right. Yeah, there was a little bit of black I saw where the propeller meets the edge, but yeah, it's fine. I didn't go right up to the edge with the green paint during that. I was, you know, when you paint something like really large and quite complex like this with a big old brush, you know, you don't really, it's easy to miss bits even if you have a system like me. System. So I'm just washing out the sponge. Now my water is full of lead belcher paint. I don't really care about that at the moment because if it's got little bits of silver or whatever metallic in the paint, it doesn't matter for this project. It will possibly even make it look better. Right, now I have decided I was going to go into this and sponge the leading edge with lead belcher like I did with the rest of this, but I'm not actually convinced with that effect. It doesn't really show up. Only when the light catches it does it show up. So a lot of the details are not so obvious. For my liking, this green is quite flat. It's a flat green, so there's a lot of details on there that don't pop. And I'd like them to pop because I do prefer like the almost comic book style, almost like rough comic, like 2000 AD style, like rough comic book, not like spandex wearing mutants who are also supermodels, kind of low detail comic book art. The more highly detailed but dirty, more realistic, with mutants having hands growing out their top of their heads and stuff. Anyway, I'm digressing furiously. So I'm going to do that. Well, I haven't said what I was going to do. So what I'm going to do is what I've done before, but I haven't done it for such a light colour before, so it's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to take a lighter paint. So this is German Tank Crew 2, the main colour. This is a much lighter colour. In this case, it's called grey, green grey, not grey green, green grey. It's a much lighter colour, but the same kind of same palette. It's just a bit lighter. And I'm going to go around all of the edges and the details with my trusty thick brush, which I'm still using, even though I've used it for rust paint and all kinds of stuff. It's still got bristles, it's still reasonably flat. It's great for just rough work like this. I'm going to go around all of the edges, all of the details, and do a very rough edge highlighting, but rough, not like, oh, it's a straight line. No, a rough line, and as long as you can't see that it's got brush strokes in it, like if I overbrush it, that's fine. If I overbrush it and it's got like a big straight line that looks like a brush, nope, then I'd have to fix that. But yeah, because I usually do that for I've just noticed a bit more that I've missed. I usually do that for other colours, darker colours like black. I go over it with a grey. Do all of the edge with a very rough grey, and I really like that effect. You've probably seen that in a whole bunch of my videos because I like painting black things. Right, I keep noticing bits I've missed. Right, there's another bit I missed. Right, okay. So that will bring out a lot of the details. That'll bring out all the details actually. Much more than this, and it will look worn as well because it'll be rough. It'll look worn. If it's a nice straight perfect line, all that doesn't look worn to me. But if it's rough, some people hate it. It's a Marmite thing. Some people hate it. I love it. So I'm going to do that all around the edges, and I'm going to do it on this first. So if it does look absolutely freaking terrible, I can just paint it again. If it looks all right, then I'll do the main craft. So that's how that works. So get this brush reasonably dry as you can. You can use a bit of tissue, soak up the moisture. Shake this a lot because this one separates quite badly. Know your paint. You get to know which paints separate out quite badly, which paints need shaking a lot, which ones don't. You get to know that after a while. So once I've done all that, I was thinking quite seriously about, once I've done this one, the edge highlighting, going over the whole thing with the varnish, the wood varnish that I've painted on, I sloshed all over my Necromunda terrain. There's two issues with that, and a lot of benefits. So the two issues are, which I've said before, is number one, it's very shiny, but a bit of matte coat will fix that. Number two is it drips. So once you've sloshed it all on, it looks fine, and you wait, and then it slowly pools and drips. It pools into the recesses, which is great, that's what you want. But on any flat surfaces that are vertical, it will probably start dripping. You get like drip marks on there, which with the Necromunda terrain is quite easy to cover up with a bit of rust sponging or whatever. This, I could also do the same thing, rust sponging. Yeah, totally could do that. Yeah, like totally. I've just noticed something that I want to do first, actually. Let's do the door. Let's do that. Let's see how this works. I've started doing this. Yeah, just totally unorganized. I'm making it up as I go along. I don't know if you noticed. I am literally making it up as I go along. Making decisions on the fly, flying by the seat of my undercrackers. Right. So, but I just want, apart from the fact I just like making videos and talking to myself, yeah, it's an excuse to talk to myself. I'm not mad. Also, I really want more people to paint their stuff. It's kind of depressing when I'm playing against people who haven't painted their stuff. Or I see on YouTube other videos with really entertaining people, great terrain, and they haven't painted their stuff. I know a lot of them, they're like, oh, got a new game sent to me by whoever. I want to get it on the table ASAP. And so they just assemble it and then play it. And I understand that. You've got to think about your income from your viewers and stuff, because those videos get a lot of views, and that's great, including from me. But yeah, that shows up. So if I'm going to do a panel at a time, I will probably miss some as well and have to go back. So yeah, as I was saying, YouTube videos, people not painting stuff. There is one guy who really does paint all of his stuff. He gets the, whatever it is, the game, board game, miniatures game, and he stays up all night painting it. He must do. And then he gets it on the table the next day before it's officially released, before people have got their stuff, and then, Uber viewing figures. Freaking awesome. And the only thing is with that guy, I can't understand the word he's saying. I can't understand what he's saying. It's so frustrating because I really like, he seems like a really nice guy. I can understand a little bit of what he says. Seems like a really nice guy. That does look a lot better. Whoa, yeah. Right. I can't understand what he's saying. He speaks really, really fast. And he's speaking rules speak. So he's just pulling these, the jargon, the rules jargon, the saving throws, and the but really fast. And I'm like, slow down. And also, its accent is quite strong. And before you say anything, yeah, I've got an accent. So do you, whoever you are. Everyone has an accent. And anyone who says they don't, is a moron. Is a moron. I remember when I was like 5, and there was someone, maybe on the TV, maybe in real life. Anyway, they had an accent. And I said to my parents, that person has an accent. I don't have an accent. That person has an accent. And my parents thought that was fucking hilarious, because everyone has an accent. And the fact that I was saying, I don't have an accent, when I was 5 years old, they found that cute, adorable, but hilarious. So anyone who says they don't have an accent, yeah, you're adorable and hilarious. So there you go. So I'll just finish this one side of the drop pod, as they were called in Rogue Trooper back in the 70s, before Games Workshop borrowed that idea and name and design. Rogue Trooper, if you're wondering. In fact, Rogue Trooper, yeah, genetically engineered super soldiers dropped from space onto a planet in pods. Sound familiar? Should do. But I am not on that boycott Games Workshop thing. Whatever it is. I think people are upset because Games Workshop changed their, or updated their legal jargon thing. Whatever it is. Literally just an update. Make it more relevant. I doubt they'll be going after anyone. But subsequently a lot of people have panicked and stopped covering GW stuff, or stopped doing fan stuff, you know, like the cartoons and stuff. And that, there may be something behind that, like because you know, coincides with not surprisingly, what was it, Warhammer TV, which is another kettle of fish. Some people hate it, some people love it. Anyway, yeah, that looks freaking amazing. Oh, let me see if you can see that. Yeah, that looks a lot better than plain old. Yeah, okay, right, done. I'm going to do the rest of this, and I'm going to do that, and I'll be back in about 5 hours. The back propeller needs some lead belcher. I'm not going to use a sponge because that's too big. I'll get it all over the place. I'm just going to use a brush, and I'm going to just stipple or poke. I'm going to poke it with the brush. That propeller doesn't move very much. It's not glued in, but it's trapped in there, so it doesn't move much. So I'm just poking. Poking the edges of the propellers. And because it does move, I don't have to worry about doing the insides and the inside edges and all that old nonsense. Because it looked a bit weird with those front two propellers being a little bit silver and this one being flat green. There you go, that's better. Right, now for my next trick, the external door, internal door, the door to the pilot's door, cabin, whatever, this one. I was thinking, oh, I could do it hazard stripes, but no, because I'd have to do them up and then down like a triangle. Doable, done it before, but nope, don't really feel like doing that today, and I will paint it. I thought maybe I'll leave it green, but then it doesn't really show up. I probably want to get a transfer on there like a warning sign saying warning, blah 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 blah, do not touch, or warning, DNA sequencing recognition, whatever, I don't know, something like that. So not green, not leaving it green, I'm going to do it grey, the same colour as the interior. So at least it will stand out, and it will also make sense because it's, when that's attached, it is internal. Yeah. Warning signs, yeah, like mind the gap, mind your fingers, don't get your fingers stuck in the door pockets, as it says on the train. Priority seats for elderly people and those with children. As it says on the train, people, from what I can see, generally don't read those signs because they're looking at their phone. And in this part of the world, when they're looking at the phone, they're watching TV or reading monster porn. Well, yeah, I did shake my head when I said that word. What is the world coming to? I appear to be one of the rare people in this part of the world. Slightly different in England. People seem to be a bit more aware in England than here, possibly because, you know, people are worried about your environment, or keep an eye on what's going on. You might get mugged, might get stabbed up. Might get a brick around the head. But no, none of those things happen very often here. So people just walk around with their head in their phone, literally crossing roads, walking down concrete steps, not even looking up once. I'm one of the rare people that don't do that. Phone in pocket until I'm sitting down, and then I get it out. Get it out. Rant of the day, rant of the minute even. There'll probably be more. Right, so I painted the door grey. Let's have a look at that. Have a look at it. It's not bad. Yeah, makes sense. The little window, I'm going to do the same colour as these, which for the moment is silver, and then I'll go over it with the contrast. That'll be, do the contrast bits later on. So let's do, what's this, iron breaker? So a more kind of mithril silver kind of thing, like silvery silver, light silver. Just gonna do that little window. Right, so I was shaking it for a good few seconds and you couldn't hear that clicking sound. That means it was all congealed. That clicking sound is a bit of metal. Pewter. So it can mix and stuff. La 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 la. Right, I'm going to use a small brush for this, not because it's small, because I don't want to get it. I want to go up to the edge, but not into the edge. If that makes any sense. Well, this brush is hard as rock. I should have washed it first. Never mind, carry on, pretend it's fine. Right, half done. Where's the silver? There it is. All right. Can't tell the silvers apart. There we go. Right, so it's gone kind of up to the edge, but not quite. So there's a little black line around it. That's fine. That's good. That's what I wanted. That's what I always wanted. I'll show you that in just a sec. Just a second. Clean the brush. Clean it, I tells ya. Dun dun dun. Let's see if you can see. Let's see what you can see. There it is. Silver window, grey door. Lovely. Right. Now I think we're ready to continue doing the edge stress highlight things using green grey. It's going to take a while. I'm going to do it, you know, systematically. So one panel, wing, underwing, other side, one panel, wing, underwing, and then from the back forward, and we'll see if we miss anywhere. Probably will. It's inevitable, but easily fixed. So normally I would notice the bits I've missed when I've moved on to the next bit. The next bit will be detailing. I want to do like a red band around the gun. Done pretty much all of it. I'm just checking for bits I've missed. It does look a lot more beaten up now. Before it looked like it was fresh out of the shop. Does look a lot better, and the details are all very, very obvious. Right, I'm just gonna do the underside of this. I was thinking actually looking at this detail here, this looks like it's like a truncated you know, like between trains, if they're connected, train carriages, they're connected and they got this like flexible rubbery bit. And the same with like when a ship docks on another ship, and in sci-fi they have like a rubbery tube because it's easier to get it all locked up, flexible. That looks like, because it's gonna and then lock in place. So I'm thinking I might paint that bit a different colour. Either just the what's that called? Concertina. That bit, the foldy bit, or the concertina bit and the door frame. Although the door frame doesn't have, at the top, it doesn't have an actual frame piece. So that could be maybe left as green, and maybe have that as black and the grey highlight, just to change it up a bit. That would make sense, because I'm pretty sure that's not metal. You know, if we're looking at it as a practical vehicle, and it is much more practical than some of the GW stuff. Oh, and I've just noticed I've missed a bit of light greeny edge highlighting here. So I'll do that right now before I forget. Do it now. Got to do it as and when, otherwise it will never get done until it's too late, and you'll notice it after you've added the final bit of weathering and top coat. You'll notice it and it'll be too late, and you'll be slightly annoyed, and depending on how OCD you are, you'll either be reluctant to use it in case you notice it, someone else notices it, which they won't, or you'll repaint the whole thing, which again is not ideal. That is really, wow, the lighting's not very good in here. I apologise, but that is so much better. Right, concertina, let's do a black. The thing I like about having a paint station, this is the smallest one I could find on the internet. Had it a couple of years now. So I painted for 8 years on a tea tray. It's got places for the paints, and even these GW ones, they don't fit in the holes, but there's space for them up there, and that's where you can just put the paints that you're using for that particular model. And then if you've got to touch anything up, oh, I missed a bit, and it's right there. You don't have to find this green in a sea of greens. I've got 20 different greens, so that's what I do. I recommend having, who made this anyway? Let's have a look. Hornet Games. I'm not sure if they made it themselves. I think maybe Sarissa Precision made it, because I don't know if Warlord even has a MDF cutter, but it's got the Hornet Games sign on it. It's the smallest one that they do anyway. Right. Busy talking nonsense again. Shall I do it black, or shall I do a different colour? They're sometimes black, but they're not always black, are they? But I'm going to do it black because although it's not going to be strictly a military aircraft, it's going to be kind of military colours. I've just noticed another couple of liney bits I missed here and here. Let's do those right now. This is going to happen probably quite a lot. Probably quite a lot, but I've done most of it. Right, it's just a very small, shallow panel at the front around the light, headlight housing. Just want to make sure I got it, otherwise it'll be conspicuously not weathered. Like that could even be a thing, like, oh, broken headlight, sir, you should get that replaced, and go and get that replaced while the rest of the vehicle is falling apart. Let's do it. Right, it says dead black. It's not dead black, but I've refilled this several times with Abaddon black. So yeah, before I do that, it was the Olympics, now it's the Paralympics. Official Tokyo beer that they weren't allowed to drink during the Olympics. No drinking in the Olympic Village, so that's why they all went out into the town, as I would have done, although I wouldn't have gone there in the first place, with the high risk involved. Weather. Bringing reality into. Yeah, let's not talk about that. Anyway, cheers. Right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yo, yo, yo. So as far as Japanese beer is concerned, the main ones, Asahi, Kirin, Suntory, they're all pretty much the same. They've got, each mega corporation has their different levels of what they call, well, what we call beer. But actually, like, there's like usually 3 levels. Legally anyway, in Japan there's like 3 levels of beer. I will use beer terminology. They're not allowed to call the level 2 or level 3 drinks beer because they don't contain enough malt, and probably some other reasons as well. And to be honest, yeah, it's not really beer, but there's no other word for it in English. So you get what you pay for pretty much in terms of tastes like beer. However, tastes like anything is a rare thing in Japan. Like the Western palate is used to strong flavors and tastes generally. It's a massive generalization, so I do apologize. But that it does look all shiny and new, so I'm going to weather this up. Anything else that should be black while I've got a spooge of black on my palette? Not really. Maybe not. No. No. Black stripe is black. It's all black. Yeah. Quite a strong colour. We're good. What about on here? Anything that needs to be black on here? Right, those black stripes are good. Might as well just give them a bit more oomph. I have that last bit of black paint. But yeah, as I was saying, the Japanese palate, as in the mouth, taste buds, generally are more sensitive or whatever. I don't know. Right. Anyway, so the Japanese traditional sweets have almost no taste. If they do taste of anything, it's beans. So, sweets, I'll tell you. Whereas, you know, in England, Europe, and the US, sweets, you know, strawberry, raspberry, blueberry, pow, 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 taste buds being punched to death. Well, I like it. Most people do, and certainly a lot of Japanese people like it, but the traditional Japanese foods and stuff have very little taste. There are exceptions, of course, pickled plums and stuff like that. And of course the sweet things are quite popular here as well, but not too sweet. So anyway, I'm talking nonsense. What am I talking about? Who frickin' knows? grey, but not those greys. We want a dark grey. It says dark grey model colour. So this used to be this Pantone colour. Used to be a GW colour, I think, and that's why it's. Well, no. That's game colour, isn't it? Game colour is the GW stuff. Model colour is. So it's similar, anyway. But I have refilled this with GW paints because dark grey gets used a lot in my painting. Yeah. So anyway, whenever, for example, I'll give you a real life example, right? Drinking beers, Japanese beers, actually, probably Asahi or something, with some Japanese ladies. We were all married, so there wasn't any shenanigans going on. But this was a work event, and anyway, so then we ran out of Japanese beer, the regular beer, and there was some German beer. So I said, well, I'm going to drink German beer because it's widely considered to be the best beer in the world, to be honest, in my opinion and many other people's opinion, and it's certainly better than the Japanese beer. And of course, they were skeptical, to say the least. So I said, well, just try it. Try it. If you don't like it, then well, I'll drink it. So that was before COVID, when we could do those kinds of shenanigans. So all of them, they passed around this can of beer. Well, they filled up their cups with this can of beer and drank it. And all of them said, it's bitter, as in it's got taste. And none of them liked it. Fair enough. Yeah, not for everyone. But then the alternative to that, because there wasn't any more regular Japanese beer, was the third beer, which is the cheapest kind of beer available in Japan. It's made of rice or something. I call it beer. It's not legally beer in Japan. Probably not legally beer anywhere. Literally tastes like fizzy water, soda water. I can't drink it. There's very little I can't drink. I can't drink it because it just seems pointless. No taste. Really, well, what is the point? So, anyway, case in point, that was my experience. Your experience might vary, and there are many exceptions. My wife, for example, she likes beer with taste, not in large quantities, of course, but yeah. Right, so I've just overbrushed the concertinery bits on this. That looks better, innit? A bit more detail on that. Yay! That's functional now. The door kind of pops out, sticks to the doorway, and then magnets kick in, air seals kick in, door opens, and now they're sealed, ready to be taken out of the atmosphere or to a higher altitude. Yeah, I'm liking that. Right, now what? Let me think about that. No, don't think about it. Just do it. I'm going to do a red. See the barrel of, not the barrel, the housing of the gun. There's a ring around the edge. I'm going to do that red. I'll do that red. Gonna do it freaking red. But which red to use? I've got like, is that even open? No, I've got kind of a dark red, which would make sense. Mephiston red, I use that for bloody everything. I use that for the things inside there. I do have several pots of this though, because I got 3 pots on several occasions. 3 pots of paint from G-Dubs. Back when I was a loyal customer. Not that I'm not a loyal customer to them, but times have been a little bit hard work-wise, so can't really justify going there. Anyway, cheers. Right, now I'm suitably refreshed. Mephiston red. So not only do I consider the end result when I'm painting, and I also consider the overall look I'm going for. Am I going for bright and poppy, or bright poppy but worn down, or dark? Because this is poppy, because it's going to be, because it's red. The red is by default quite poppy, as in it pops out. But if I went for a lighter red, it would seem a bit too bright for this particular item. Whereas if I was doing something a bit clean, maybe like an infinity kind of look, I could definitely go for more of a bright colour, like more of a vermilion red. There you go. Just doing the edge of that. I'm not gonna push it up to the front of the disc, up to the barrels. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do the edge, like a band, a warning band. Like, this is a spinny thing. Don't touch it while the engine's running, or whatever warnings they have on these kind of things, like point this way towards enemy or whatever. I can't even believe that's a real thing, but it is. It's a real thing. Yeah, I guess it takes all sorts. Right, Mephiston red on that particular piece. Just give it, now that gun is now a bit more poppy. I keep saying poppy. Brr. Should we do the windows, front windows, and the window in the thing? Right, I've had a furious think, and right, so let's start with let's do the lights. So 1, 2, 3, 4 headlights, and I'm going to do the hood light here, top light, whatever it's called. Like aircraft, Boeings and stuff, they've always got one on the top, going beep, beep. That's one you see, and on the bottom. That's the one you see at night time, and on the wings probably. I don't even know, but yeah, they got one on the top. So it doesn't affect their view, and it's pointing that way, and it's a beep 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 beep. So that's what that's going to be. Don't know if that's what it is supposed to be, but it is now. I'm going to use my tiny brush. It's not that small. It's called starter brush, yeah. So obviously it's not that small, but it still has a point. One of my only brushes that has a point, or my only brush that has a point at the moment. I've got more in the drawer, but I'm quite happy using what I've got until the bristles fall out. So let's do. So I'm doing them first white. And I'm just trying to go up to the edge. That one's gone a bit over. And that actually, let's go a bit over because it's flooding that area with light. Like the old plasma glow. The plasma glow that I've never really been a fan of, where you just spooge the paint on the plasma coils and then a few millimeters around it. It looks way too liquidy, but this isn't quite the same. This is just filling the internal bit in there. I can always go in and with the green and get rid of that if necessary. We'll see what it looks like when I've got the yellow done. Right. Just want to make it as straight a line or smooth a line as I can, not without any like sticky outy bits where I've screwed up with brushwork. Because I am not a good painter. I'm not a good painter. I'm just very experienced, and I have free time. That's all. So, what I really hope is for you to get your stuff painted better than mine, or at least the minimum is as good as mine, because if I can do it, you can do it. So, right. So I've done the white. The white's done. I'm going to go in with in a minute when it's drying. I'm going to go in with this super bright yellow, flash kits yellow on the lights, and we'll see how that looks. That should stick out a bit. The windows, I've decided I'm going to go in. I thought about blue. I'm still thinking about blue actually, because yellow, I mean, it's not, it says yellow. This isn't actually, it's good for some things, but, and I have used it for windows and displays and stuff, but I don't think it's gonna, let's do that. Right, no, let's do Talisar blue. This one's in, because blue will, metallic blue will be a bit more obvious, because you've got to take into account the rest of the colours. It's quite a muted colour scheme. It's like military green, a bit of wearing, so like the stripes and the red and the lights, and then this bright blue metallic will really stand out, rather than if I just do like yellow, because it's not like bright yellow, the contrast paint over silver. It's not, it's more like those sunglasses that people wear that are like tinted kind of yellowy, mirror sunglasses. Oakley, possibly. Why should I even know that? Why do I know that? Right, I'm going to use my starter brush for that too. Just because I'm worried about getting it in places I shouldn't. It's quite runny as well. So let's get it all up in there. Yes, correct decision on the colour. That is a lot more visible than, a lot more striking than if I'd have done it yellow over metallic. Yellow over metallic may have been a kind of more realistic. Not really going for realistic. I'm going for like realistic comic book, 2000 AD. Woo! Look at that! Whoa! Yes, yeah, like eyes. Right, now I'm going to do the same on the interior here. And as it's contrast, it kind of shades itself. It should go into the recesses. This is quite a light cover now because I've run out of, I'm going to give that a bit more, a little bit more on that bit. Because the paint on the palette was almost done, so treating it a little bit like a wash, a shade, an ink, whatever you call it, and then hopefully the gravity will make it fill in the lower recess of the thing. If it doesn't matter, but yeah, look at that. That is freaking awesome. That does look nice. I do like that. That correct decision. I'm glad I changed my mind at the last minute. Blue, where do you go? There you go, blue. Right, now let's go in with the bright yellow, do the lights. And yeah, it's all, look at that, fucking crusted all around the lid. Annoying much? Yeah, now the lid doesn't even close properly, gets more dry, crusts even more. Annoying much? Right, one. I think without an airbrush, lights just don't really look like lights. They look painted on. So I might go back and just paint them like they're off, but they're there. So obviously lights, but obviously off. And the comic book way of doing that is like blue, green, yeah, one on the roof. Don't be afraid to change your mind. Especially with these minor details. So easy just to try some different stuff. I might actually go in, now that's done, go in with the contrast yellow over the yellow yeah, do that contrast yellow over the yellow to shade the shape, define the shape of that particular thing there. That's because I don't know, it's not really, if I had an airbrush, of course it would be like tss, tss, or even tss, 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 1 2 3 puff puff puff, but I don't, and I'm probably not going to get one unless I move house. So it does look, I do like having those, because it does, you know, like the stripes, the lights, the windows, the thing, it's not all one shade, one kind of green blob. It's, yeah, it does, yeah, I like it. I just need to make it look better. So, yeah, I will go in with the Iandan yellow on the lights. And see if that makes it any better. If not, Agrax. And I am still thinking of sloshing varnish over the whole thing, which will dull down pretty much everything. Okay, right, let's go in with the old Iandan yellow contrast paint, and see how that looks. Yep, I've got it all attached. That does look good with the black. That was a freaking good decision right there. Look at that. Wee. It looks like it's, yeah, you know, like it makes sense, kind of. All right, that kind of works. Let's get a bit more. Not too much, but enough to define the edges and to make it kind of like an orange, because it is an orange kind of effect, like an orange ink, a thick orange ink maybe, orange wash, whatever. It goes into the recesses and it makes the recesses orange, so you can see maybe it's made the dips orange. Yeah, which I could do that with an orange paint, but why, when I can just blob it on in 2 seconds and boom, time saver. Hasn't worked quite so well on the backlight because of the shape. Although I can just go in with a yellow again and highlight the top of that. I'm still thinking, right, let's move those. Put the paints back that I know I can find again. The browns and the greens and the greys I won't be able to find again because I have so many, but yeah. the yellow contrast, I know exactly where that is. And you know, the red that I always use, I know where that is. So I did go in my cupboard and pull that out. That's the wood varnish, water-based wood varnish that I use on my Necromunda terrain. Like I said, it's very shiny, but it also protects the terrain, or protects whatever you cover it in. It's like a layer of plastic basically, so you don't need to top coat it. Although I could just do it with this, and then when I finish, just give it a quick spray with matte coat, so it's not quite so shiny. So I'm still thinking of doing it in this, doing the whole thing in this. I've got like 1 centimetre left, but this one bottle has done several sets of Necromunda terrain completely, and I've still got maybe a quarter of a bottle left, so that should be enough for this. If it's not, I'm in trouble. But I think it's probably more than enough. So yeah, still thinking about doing that. Still thinking about it. What I might do is, because these white lines, they do look a bit rough when you look up close. So Nuln oil on those, and on the tail, and maybe Nuln oil on some of the recesses as well. See if I can get away with just doing some Nuln oil in select areas, and then a bit of sponging. Yeah, let's do that. Nuln oil, sponging, and then do some major rust on some areas. So Nuln oil, sponging with chocolate, basically orange brownie paint, on lots of areas, and then on select areas do the major bits of thing, and that will not be so, because it's so bright, it's very easy to see the fact that it's not really, the lines aren't straight, you know. It's like, you know, I'm not a freehand painter. I'm not a good painter. That's the thing. It's like, but it's the end result that matters. And I'm planning to make this look weathered. So, and yeah, if I don't have to use that, then it's probably a good thing. Yeah. Mind you, still thinking about it. Let me think about it. I need to eyeball it and get it in my mind's eye what it's going to look like with that on it, and whether it's going to look better than it does now. Ignoring that, just generally, is it going to look better? So, going to cogitate for a couple of minutes. This is the thing that takes a lot of the time for me. Right, it's not actually painting. It's thinking about what to do. You remember back in the beginning, I couldn't even decide on what green to use. So anyway, yeah, see you in about between 2 and 5 minutes. I have thought about it, and I probably will go over this with the old wood varnish. However, the inside, the interior, I'm going to do with Nuln oil, because this is reasonably expensive stuff. I mean, look at the size comparison, and they're not. This is actually cheaper than that. So I'm not going to do that in Nuln oil, even though I thought about, yeah, okay, I could just go in the recesses with the Nuln oil, but I've tried that before, and like I said, I am not a golden axe winning painter, so keep it freaking simple. I'd much rather just slosh over the whole thing with that, and then go in and rust up the details, rust up the mistakes even. That's how I get things painted quickly. Ba, ba, ba. Right, Nuln oil on the interior of this. Also, I'm not doing the interior of this with the wood varnish because it remains a little bit sticky. That's another issue with the wood varnish, is it doesn't ever completely dry. Maybe it does one day, but I haven't noticed it drying 100% on the stuff I did a few years ago. It's still a little bit sticky. Like those perma liquids that like tar, you know, it might appear to be like on the road, yeah, it might appear to be solid, but no, it's not really. Right, brush away any mistakes. Make sure the gaps get filled in. Right, that side's done. Do the other side and then we'll do the middle. Yeah, I've seen, I mean, the local GW shop has unlimited supply of Nuln oil and Agrax Earthshade and stuff like that. So they're not afraid of using, for their own terrain pieces in the store, in the shop, they're not afraid of using this stuff. But actually, because well, the particular one that I'm talking about, he does point shading, pin shading, but not really pin shading because it's terrain, and he's probably on a time limit. Got to get it fucking done so people can play on it before the weekend and stuff like that. So he's using quite a big brush. Anyway, yeah, I've seen what it would look like if I tried to do pin shading with my big fat brushes and my lackadaisical attitude towards painting. And yeah, it's really, like, I could see from quite far away that he'd gone in with, you know, a reasonably sized paintbrush and just painted a line of Nuln oil in that crevice. Yeah, from the shop window outside, yeah, it looks alright. Get inside and have a look. For me, it doesn't look that good in my standards, so not so high. That's my personal. Oh, it looks better, doesn't it? Look, all oiled up and stepped on and crap, and the recesses are all coloured in a bit. There will be more weathering to go on the inside, so eventually. So I'm just sloshing it all over the inside. Slosh it all over. Dig, 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 dig. And then let's do the inside of the wall. Looks good. Lived in, used by a bunch of free company individuals. Could even say pirates, although they probably wouldn't like that word, as they are contracted by the corporation to ensure the galactic borders are safe from anyone. And oh, they get to keep the spoils. Ooh. Hashtag not piracy. Hashtag notpiracy.com. Right, I did think about doing a bit of known oil on the monitors inside, but again, having known oil, a hard edge of known oil on the edges, you either do the whole thing in known oil and let it naturally recess, or you just don't do it. Unless you're using some other product which is a bit more a bit thinner and goes into the recesses and doesn't pool at all, of which there is something, can't remember who it's by. Never gonna have access to it anyway from where I am, so hashtag don't care, hashtag don't care. Right, I've done the floor, done the walls. It does look a lot more greasy and oily and lived in. Gonna do the ceiling now. No one's ever gonna see it except me. Gotta do it, gotta do it. And that is a big flat area. And yeah, I'm not just gonna do a straight line of known oil, because that looks horrible in my opinion, it looks so unnatural. Not in a cyberpunk good kind of unnatural, but it just looks like it's been painted on. You paint like yeah, in where I live, kind of a bit near Tokyo, there's a chain of English pubs, but they're not really English pubs, called The Hub. Don't look it up, don't even go there, it's crap. But unless there's nowhere else, then yeah, go for it. But they have they're like fake English pubs, and not a Japanese version of English pubs, basically. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, except if you can go to a real English pub, and then yeah, great. But anyway, they're all over the place, but they paint the ceiling. They stain the ceiling. They have like white wallpaper on the ceiling, like texture wallpaper, like hashtag every Japanese apartment ever. And they stain it brown, like fake nicotine stain brown. Yeah, because I guess the owner went to an English pub once and saw nicotine brown stains on the ceiling. Yeah, I guess that is part of my youth, but those nicotine stains you could have scraped off, rolled up and smoked, rather than the nicotine stains in Tokyo. Anyway, that looks a lot more realistic, yeah. Much better than, for example, if I'd have painted the lines of ink in the places. Yeah, just do the whole thing. It will naturally settle, and if you don't like it, highlight the areas that you don't want to look quite so dark. Right, I'm going to take a quick break and then probably start messing about with that. Right, here goes. I've decided I'm going to do it. It's going to look better. So I'm doing the outside of this. Start with this, because if it does look terrible, you know, this is easier to manage. I'm doing the outside of this first, using blue tack and paint pots to support it. I will do the walls and the top, not the magnets, and then finally do the underside of that. When it's dry, it takes a few hours to dry, so do that first. Right, yeah, should have enough. So yeah, actually, yeah, definitely should have enough. If I'm reasonable with it. Huge paintbrush, of course. So dipping it in and then mopping it off on the side of the thing, and do one side at a time. Try and get it complete. Slosh off any immediate drippages. And then do the other side. And remembering we don't want it to stick, so trying to avoid getting it where the contact points are, so having it the extreme outside surfaces is good, but not where the contact points are on the doors. And looking at this, I can clean up a bit more on that side. Right, doing the wall on that side, sloshing it off the side, scraping it off the brush, going in. And going in this side. Yeah, try not to get too much on. The more you put on, the more likely it's going to drip. But you don't want to miss anywhere at the same time. So you get used to, once you've done a few bits of terrain and stuff, and you can always just go around and at this stage just brush off any bits that have poolage, drippage. And that is absolutely fine. Right, gonna let that dry. Yeah, gonna let that dry. Wash the brush and put this away. I'm gonna give it like an hour. Should be touchable. I've got the aircon on, and that dries the air quite significantly, so that'll be touchable in about an hour probably. I'm gonna let that dry and then we'll see, because I don't want to do the whole thing and then think, oh, it looks fucking shit, and have to do it again. Or maybe I'll do it anyway and get back to you. You'll find out in about 2 seconds. Okay. Right, so I did that, but not the underneath, and I thought that looks good, very good actually. So I did most of that except this wing, and I missed a couple of patches, so I'm going to do those, and this wing. Yeah. Yeah, really. So I'm going to do the bits I missed, and the other wing with that right now. Do it now, do it now, do it now. It's kind of touch dry now. It's been like, I don't know, an hour. But if you are in a humid atmosphere, it will take a lot longer. a lot longer. And if you've really spooged it on, it takes longer. So, right, I'm gonna do the couple of bits I missed. There's a bit there, a bit there. Right, I can always do the other bit. I mean, the bits where it's pooled are not dry. So be warned. Yeah, it's not an exact science, I'll tell you that. Chew that right now for nothing. I don't participate in exact sciences, except well, that's bad. As that's bad, it's fixable. Just a bit of drippage on the top part of the aircraft. Yeah, I'm just getting the whole propeller done. Probably missing bits. It doesn't matter. If you miss bits, you can just go back and do it. And any bits of drippage, seepage, ploppage, crappage, whatever, you can go back with a bit of weathering. Yeah, because in the universe that I like to use for gaming, yeah, it's all 2000 AD style. It's all worn to crap and stuff. But basically, the universe that Necromunda was based on and Warhammer 40,000 was based on. Yeah, I say based on it. Warhammer 40k was kind of like Dune. Necromunda was definitely Judge Dredd, and they implemented lots of other things. So yeah, that's done. Like a Rogue Trooper for the drop pods, and Space Marines. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Yada yada yada. Yeah, here it goes again, yammering on about how everything comes back to 2000 AD. Whee! Yeah, I've just stuck my finger in a pool of not yet dried stuff, so I'm gonna suspend it like that. Any fingerprints, any seepage, any drippage, easily fixed, and we'll let that dry. Oh no, fuck it. No, don't let that dry. Not finished yet. Crap. Right, let's do that. We're going to do the bottom of this one as well. And then let it all dry and see what fixes we have to do. Just soaking the water out of that. Right, okay, now we can go into this, scrape off some of the excess stuff, and then So the rest of it is dry enough, so it probably won't stick too much. It'll be openable. I'll always just leave a little, open it a little bit so it doesn't stick too much, and it's very easy to lever out. Right, I have varnished everything. Yeah, it's all done. It's not 100% dry, and it never will be, but it's good enough to touch in most places, except where it's dripped and leaked. So yeah, there are a few places I'd like to clean up, specifically here, where it's pooled quite a lot here. That wing. Oh, here. Yeah. Anywhere it's been weirdly pooled. Anyway, it's not. It ain't right. I tells you, it ain't right. Anyway, yeah. So, best way to deal with that immediately is to sponge it off with the old Choco paint. Let's let the chocolate sponging begin. And yeah, if it doesn't quite do it, then anyway, so yeah, chocolate paint on the palette, and then dust it off a bit, and then start dabbing it around, on and around the problem areas. Yeah. And because the problem areas are going to be in seemingly random places, you can do those places first and then extrapolate. Right, let's do a bit on the tail. Cool. Okay, let's do this. It's random if there ain't no seepage, drippage, or obvious areas, then just randomize it. Big old flat bit, yeah, that's gonna get more, make it more interesting, like that. Right, I'm back. It's been a few days again, just after that last segment. Mrs. Me came home and yeah, so I haven't had a chance to get back to this since I did the chocolate sponging. Now I'm looking at it in kind of semi-daylight. It looks good. I like it. I have missed one or two bits I'd like to do. Specifically a bit here on the side. There's a bit of drippage I didn't quite get. That's going to get got. And the rear part is strangely devoid of any weathering, so I'm going to put a little bit on there. And that will probably do it for the chocolate sponging. Also, although I haven't been able to make a video, I have painted a whole bunch of stuff. A bunch of D&D miniatures for someone, a bit of Warhammer miniature as well, whatever that is. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 Doctor Who miniatures. This is the 5th Doctor? Yeah, 5th Doctor. 10th? Possibly? I don't even know. 8th, 9th? I forget, because so many, it's like 13 or 14 now. And Captain America. This one, I wouldn't say it was difficult because I haven't done it to a high standard like my friend has, but the stripes on the belly, the stripes on the shield, tough to get looking straight. So what I did is I just eyeballed it and then went in with the Nuln oil, darkened it all down a bit. So my model is looking a lot more like, you know, World War II, covered in grime and stuff, rather than my friend's model, which is very much comic book, very bling, like very attractive, like someone from quite far away could look at the table and see immediately that is Captain America, whereas this one is a bit more grim dark, I suppose it would be the word. I did on the shield, I did some sponging. The back of the shield is with what's it, Ironbreaker, so quite a light silver, and then I sponged the top of the shield with the same colour after I painted it, and it kind of made the mistakes disappear. That makes any sense? It's much less obvious that my painting was pretty haphazard and not very good. So you can imagine it. This is like adamantium or whatever, made up name, but the paint is still just paint, so that's been chipped off, and yeah. Anyway, he's very much in the midst of you know, explosions and buildings being toppled and stuff like that. Yeah. So a very rough and ready, quick speed paint on that. I do like the model though, the sculpts and the execution of this model, all the details, and the scale is, yeah, I'd say a head taller than the Doctor Who model. So whatever that is, 30, 35, I don't even know. That's millimeters. But the bigger models, don't know, something about them, just something. Oh, wow. Anyway, that's what I'll be doing instead of filming and stuff. Right, so a little bit more chocolate sponging. A little bit more chocolate sponging. Just a little bit. When I first looked at this, the day after I did it, I thought, whoa, it's too much. But actually, no, I like it. If it was like that all over, yes, it would be too much. But this area, imagine this has been probably parked up in the scrapyard or the used dropship dealership on a world that has acid rain or corrosive precipitation. It's been parked up there for months or years without any buyers because, you know, it's falling apart. Yeah, it's going to get a rusty old roof, isn't it? So that is absolutely fine. And you can still see the stripes. It's all good. It's all good. Right, I'm just going to... What was it? Let's get that off first. Right, it was the side, wasn't it? There it is. Yeah, just a little bit there, and a bit on the tail. Both sides. Go a bit there, bit there. Yeah, that'll do. Just so there's bits all over, but not specifically in one place. Right, that's good. Right. Just let that dry for a couple of minutes. Next up, the old typhus corrosion. So while the main dropship is drying, I'm going to go in with the typhus corrosion. Adds another colour of weathering onto the model. Also adds a little bit of texture because it's kind of got sand in it or micro beads of some description. So I plan do a bit on the top where the dropship has been attached, sitting in a used dropship used dropship lot for months. The water has seeped in between the dropship and the container and corroded the roof. So I'm going to put some corrosion here and on the sides where it will collect, and on the bottom. Not where there's any moving parts though. But specifically, I don't want to get it all jammed up for a start. But I also think it wouldn't corrode where there's moving bits. Right. So trying not to get paint all over my hand because of these terribly designed pots. I've shaken it, I'm opening it slowly. I've given it a couple of seconds to settle. Come on, open. Yeah, it's got all dry paint all around the inside of the lid and stuff. Oh, how annoying. Right, I'm using the same brush I use for many a thing. I've been using this on miniatures as well. It's on its last legs as it's got less and less bristles now. So get a bunch, put it on the palette, and then yeah, this is a big old flat surface, so not ideal. And I don't want a hard edge So just stipple the edges. There you go. Right, so there's a bit of, I can see bits of texture in there as well. Right, let's get the sides. Have it all collected in the corner probably, or something. There you go. Right, so I've done the top, on that side. Let's get some more. Right, so I've kind of marked the X on that. Probably do a bit on this one as well. Stippling it. Stipple! Right, do the other side. Again, do a bit on the X, because I guess the water will collect, or whatever, the acid will collect in those areas. Corners and such, recesses. Don't want to make it too uniform, so have it random, organic. There we go. And now either end, this end I'm going to leave because it's attached to the thing, airlock style. Just do a little bit on that side, around the bottom. And have it carry on underneath, where it's been sitting on tarmac, probably not, probably just soil or something. Right, pretty rough. There you go. Right, that's that done. I'm going to let that dry. Put it on its side like that. Make sure I don't touch any of the wet bits. Let that dry. Right, let's do this puppy. Same thing. Well, that brush is, yeah, now it's screwed, but that's fine because it's perfect for what we need it for right now. And I've got a bunch more. I always get a few when I go to the shop. Right, I'm shaking it. Give it a minute to settle so I don't get paint all over the frickin' place. If you're wondering what this is, that's a Art of War Studios pamphlet which came in my Art of War tokens for Marvis Crisis Protocol, and I've just left it there, and I realised it's quite a good splash guard because my computer's over there, so when I open a GW pot and it goes Purr! It kind of saves my computer. Right, that should be enough settling. If it's not, then GW will pay. Of course they won't. Right, so there's like a recess here, and I haven't been able to get in there with the sponge, but I will get in there with this, and it will be, so I'm going to wipe off most of that paint and just go in and get under there. a little bit into the white area, but not much, because I like that white bit. Let's have it. I'm not doing the vents. Go a little bit onto the reddy brown bit, but I want to keep it two-tone. Yeah, a message to you, Rudy. And then the other side as well, because it makes sense. That's where the stuff would be, but not having it the same kind of shape. Having it different, making it random, organic. Yeah, organic, keep it organic. And then a little bit on the front here, because I missed a bit with the varnish, so just go over that. So weathering is great for if you screw up. It's a great equalizer. Yeah, that looks good. Don't want too much, because you know it is a working vehicle. A little bit underneath, probably around there, around the back. Trying not to make it symmetrical. Yeah, looks good. Right, so a bit around there. Yeah, trying to figure out where to put it, making it look natural. So a bit round here. There's a nice recess there. Just have it on one side. A bit there. Yeah. Not too much. Not too much. We are going to go in with the bright orange Riser Rust in a minute. There we go. Yes. And the fact that the brush has become splayed has actually helped with that. Right, just dabbing it on. Right, that will do. That will do. Now I'm going to put this down. Let's put. Let's do a bit more. Yeah. Yeah, that'll do. We got two-tone rust now. Two-tone rust. Let's put that here for the minute. Right. Okay, we're going to let that dry for a few minutes. Wash the brush. Let the brush dry, because we want a dry brush before we use that. Using the same brush. Yeah, this is 100 yen. I've used this so much. That's like $1 or 70 pence. I've used it for miniatures, dry brushing miniatures. If you've got a miniature that's like mostly one colour, if you've got a cloak or something, takes a few seconds with this. And it's only now, after I've been using it for texture paint for like ages, it's starting to splay and lose hairs. Anyway, back in a minute. Right, this is now dry. So while the main ship is drying, I'm going to do the Riser Rust on this. It's kind of, it's a dry paint, so it's mostly pigment. So this is quite bright, so use it sparingly and rub off as much as you can. Go in lightly. Oh, that is good, that is good. Wow. Yeah. So the texture of the typhus corrosion, like bits of sand and that, they catch the whatever this is, riser rust, that's it. They catch the dry paint, and so do the edges of what you're painting, like a dry brush. Yes, that is, it's a very, because it's so bright, it stands out, even though it's almost nothing there, but because it's so bright, it stands out significantly. Just catching the edges, catching those individual grains of sand in the paint, and it really does make all the difference. Can't believe I've only just recently started to use this. I bought it quite a long time ago, about a year ago I think. Didn't have the courage, I suppose, to use it. There we go. Some areas you can really go, do it like spots of high rust, I suppose. Really go in, but certainly don't go everywhere. Definitely don't go everywhere. And again, you want to use an old brush or a brush that you don't need, because it will mess up your brush. Yes. Bit underneath, a bit on the side. Yeah, that looks bloody good, man. Whee! Right, let's see if you can see it. Right, there's the bottom, there's the top, there's the side. Yes, wow, there's the other side, look at that. Proper rust, proper rust. Right, that one's done. Let's do the main craft. Yeah, I think this brush will have had it after this. I think it will, after this, it will only be good for weathering and such. It won't be good for painting miniatures anymore. Right, system. We'll start on the top a little bit. that side. Cool. Side of the door. Don't want too much of this. It's really, really bright, but yeah, one of my favourite paints right now, I guess. Not so useful on miniatures, as far as I'm concerned. But definitely a must for terrain. Now, yeah, let's do under the wing, under the wing. I haven't yet done my, I've done my, maybe half of my terrain. I've got a huge, I've done like the 2 small boxes, right? And I've got a huge box full of terrain that is currently without riser rust or typhus corrosion. And yeah, a couple of weeks ago I opened it up. I was like, well, I'm going to do this. I opened it up and it was just overwhelming. So I closed it again. So I don't know where to start. And even though it's quite quick, it's doable. I could do it in an afternoon. Just, it's not only that, it's packing it all away again, getting it out, packing it all away again so it fits in the box, because it's like Tetris. Yes, right. Do a little bit underneath and I think that's done. A little bit underneath, I need some more. Yeah. Yeah. That looks good. Oh, so a bit under here. Yes. Yeah, I think that's pretty much done for the riser rust. Yeah. Put a little bit there. So you don't have to put it where the typhus corrosion is at all. So I'm just putting it some other random places. Yeah, right, that'll do, right. Let that dry. So yesterday I was messing about in my cupboard and I took that box out and put it down, and then I shut the door and I shut the gun in the door, and the gun snapped off, so I had to glue that on again. Yeah. So, yep. Though, because they're 3 gun barrels separately glued on to like quite a small surface area, and then the gun itself is glued on the bottom. So the gun itself glued on the bottom, fine. The 3 barrels, they kind of snapped off, or 2 of them did. Not a surprise, considering I just like shut the door, crack, whoops. Right, now, speaking of gun barrels, I've got Tamiya Weathering Master. This is similar, I suppose, to riser rust in the fact that it's a dry pigment, but riser rust is slightly liquid, like a gel, kind of powdery gel. This is more like ladies, or, you know, I say ladies, people's, humans, eyeshadow, I don't know, whatever it is, makeup. And it even says somewhere on here, no it doesn't, but there was an instruction book with it that said don't use it as makeup. Right, so I've got this old sponge. This is falling to bits. This doesn't last long at all. I might try using a brush, the brush. Haven't had much luck using that with a brush, but I'm going to try it anyway. There's nothing that can go wrong. It just will work or not work. Right, that is a little bit damp, so I'm going to get a tissue. Get a tissue. Tissues are good for drying out the brush if you're in a hurry. It absorbs. It's very absorbent. So what I'm going to do anyway, I'm going to put blue. It's called burnt blue and burnt red. I'm going to put burnt blue on the ends of the gun, and then touch up a couple of bits, making sure I don't break the gun again. Alright, so let's get this on the brush. Get a lot on there if I can. Right, that is blue, that is totally blue. And going on the gun. Do the ends. Yeah, it's not coming off the brush as much as I'd like. Thing is, if I use that, Yeah, it's better. But I have to apply pressure and that might snap the gun. Next. Pretty much done. I'm eyeballing the inside of this. See those two screens? I'm going to put transfers on those. It's a bit risky because there is a kind of a mold line in both of those, a circular kind of mold line that might cause problems. It might not, hopefully it won't. So anyway, what do we need? We need clean palette, clean water. Okay, job done. Let's move all that crap out of the way. We need the transfers themselves. So I've decided to go for an alien type design on one of them. So probably one of these bigger, this is a Tau Empire infantry transfer sheet. So go for one of these bigger things and it's just looks like a barcode or whatever. Alien. Yeah, so there's that. I'll cut that out in a minute. And one of these large areas of text. I've got loads of these. This is from Gundam something or other. I just bought the transfer sheet. I didn't have any Gundam stuff. So just get one of these blocks of text. So one screen will have, you know, human language. The next screen will have alien stuff. So yeah, keeps it, you know, kind of neutral. So first thing we need to do is go in to those screens with a gloss varnish. This is Technical Art Coat. And I've written gloss underneath because I've got another one that's matte and it doesn't frickin' say on there which one's which. So yeah, if you're not sure, just write on the bottom. I wrote on the top, but it rubbed off. So it's quite handy having that recess where you can write things. So reference information. Some of my other paints I've written on the bottom as well. Like one shade that is quite good for bone, I wrote bone underneath. Another one which is good for skin, I wrote skin. You know, because I ain't never going to remember. Right. Make sure the brush is dry and free of sandy bits. Just go in and blob gloss all up on there. Before I do that, we want to set the process in motion first. So I'm going to cut those transfers out and put them in water, do the gloss, because we want to put those on there before it dries, then it will stick better. I think the gloss also provides a smooth surface so you don't get bubbles and stuff, air pockets and stuff. I think if I do it when it's wet, it's better. So let's do that. Move that out of the way. Get my miniature cutting board, the smallest cutting board known to man. I'm going to cut out one of these random. So these decals, make sure, or these transfers, make sure your transfers, or check whether your transfers are one sheet all together on the same, like one giant transfer with different designs on it, or they're separate transfers on the same bit of paper. Because the older transfers is basically one sheet of plastic with designs on, and if you don't cut very close, then you end up with a big bit of clear transfer sheet with the design on. The newer transfers, especially from GW anyway, don't have that. They're individual bits. Oh, there's one. It's a bit small, but whatever, it might not even work anyway. Right, and then the bit of text, let's check, because you can tell from the, shine the light on it, and you can tell that they're separate entities. Ruler, you say? Question mark. Blunt cutter knife, you say? Yeah. Cutting towards yourself, you say? Yeah, I probably shouldn't be videoing this at all, just in case. But whatever. Making it up as I go along. Right, cut those out. Now, got my tweezers. I think these are from a model shop. But anyway, any tweezers will do as long as they're flat head, not pincy pince. That's a word, pincy pince. It's probably going to get censored. Let's fill up one of my segments with water. Or if you've got like a little dish or something, you can use that. And then these shouldn't take very long. So let's get them ready to plop in there. Get ready to plop in, do the varnish, plop them in, take them out, boom, job done. Oh, varnish. Going in quite thick with the varnish. I'd like to, not that one, I'd like to negate the effect of the mould line if I can, if that is even possible. And I don't want it to dry out super quick. Right, doing both at the same time. Why mess about? Right, it's all filled in with varnish. Yeah, doing it inside a structure rather than. Right, let's pop those in the water. Water, make sure it's getting both sides, make sure they're under the water so it's quicker. I'm not very good at transfers, to be honest. I've had a lot of success, but I've also had some failures where the transfer was long or fiddly and it just tore, or old and it just tore. Quite often actually I've torn things, but if they're small and they're like a cohesive shape, like a square or rounded, and not too bad. I have done, back in the day, I've done like, let me show you, like individual text letters on a thing, get all lined up and spaced properly and stuff like that, and kind of vaguely in the middle. Yeah, that took me a long time. Yeah, freaking awesome. But this is, you know, that was worth doing because it's now on my windowsill. So it's right. I'm gonna wet my fingers a little bit to avoid the transfer sticking on my fingers. I'm going of the top. Is it ready? Are you ready? Not quite. Give it a little bit more. Okay, you're starting to shift now. Do you want to pull it too hard? Peel it off. Don't pull it, because that's when ripping happens. Right. And then plop it in the middle. Wow, yeah, that works. And it's pretty much in the middle, pretty straight enough. You can go in with the tweezers and move it around, although it's better if you don't, because you end up scratching the surface of the gloss varnish. Oh, well, that came off straight away. All right. Yeah, the GW ones peel off really quick. All right, that's going to go in the middle. Hopefully get it in the middle. And that isn't quite straight, so I'm going to manipulate it slightly. Ah, that's better, right. Yes, that is freaking awesome, right. Can you see that? Not really. I am going to take some photos. Right, let's get it in the middle. Yeah, text at the top, alien text at the bottom. Yes. Right, now let that dry. Let that dry. And then, when that's dry, I'm going to top coat, spray top coat the inside of this. The outside doesn't really need a top coat, although it is shiny, so I might, yeah, I'm going to top coat the whole thing. Top coat the whole thing, make it less shiny. All right, one more thing before we top coat. One more thing. Here, there are the air vent slats. Be careful how you say that. And I'd like to put Nuln oil in the recesses there. Such a minor detail. Something so small it doesn't even matter. No one's even going to notice it. But I can see, when I look at this angle, the inside of the slats, and they're not kind of dark where they should be dark. So I'm just going to go in and do that. I might as well do that and let that dry at the same time I'm letting the varnish dry. Just do it. Minor detail, but it only takes a couple of seconds. It takes a couple of seconds. Oh, these pots, they make me so angry. Right, I'm literally just dabbing it into the recesses, and I'd like it to dry that way, so I'll keep it upright. Keeping it upright. Yeah, and then the other side, I won't bother doing all the others, just these main ones, because they're quite obvious for me, not for anyone else, of course, just me. But I find if you do, it's the overall effect. I mean, if you do these small things, they all add up, make it look cool. Right, that's that. I'm gonna let those dry, and then finally gonna let those dry. Oh fudge. Right, so what I've done, a big amateur fucking mistake. Amateur. I laid this like that. It should be laid like that because it's all dropped down. Now I have to scrape it back into place. Yeah. Gravity. Remember, gravity is a thing. Hopefully that won't look too shit. Right, so they're back in position. So they had slid down, the transfer had slid down because I'd put it like on its side. I put it upright even. So if I let it dry like that, everything should be fine. Yeah, amateur mistake, don't do what I do. Learn from my fuck ups. I'm making this up as I go along, it's probably quite obvious. But it's nearly done. Yeah, it's done. I've sprayed it with semi-gloss, and this is the first time I tried doing a top coat over the varnish, and it turned out better than I expected. I wasn't sure whether it would, go all frosty and crap, but yeah, it turned out good. Yeah. The screens inside are still quite glossy. I'm gonna go over that with a brush matte varnish. But yeah, anyway, done. It's done. I'm gonna take some pictures and you can see those. Enjoyed that paint. Now I need more stuff to paint. What am I going to do? Bye. Like, subscribe, comment below. See ya.